वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तमा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम् देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः।
ॐ श्री
ॐ श्री
परमात्मने
परमात्मने नमः।
नमः।
अथ पञ्चमोऽध्यायः।
अथ
अथ पञ्चमोऽध्यायः।
पञ्चमोऽध्यायः।
श्रीभगवानुवाच
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 बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा विन्दत्यात्मनि यत्सुखम्
बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा
बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा विन्दत्यात्मनि
विन्दत्यात्मनि
यत्सुखम्
यत्सुखम्
सब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयमश्नुते।
स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा
सद्ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयमश्नुते।
सुखमक्षयमश्नुते।
यत् सुखम् आत्मनि वर्तते तत् भाग्यस्पर्शेषु असक्तात्मा विन्दति। सः ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सन् अक्षयम् सुखम् अश्नुते। सुखम् अश्नुते, सुखम् अश्नुते, आनन्दम् अश्नुते। त्रिविधः आनन्दः अस्ति लोके च शास्त्रे अपि। आनन्दः त्रिविधः भवति इति मन्यते। भाग्यवस्तुभिः भाग्यविषयैः इन्द्रियाणां सम्बन्धात् यः आनन्दः भवति उत्पद्यते सः विषयानन्दः इति। विषयानन्दः एकविध आनन्दः। आनन्द the happiness born of bhagya sparsha, born of contact with these sense objects which are outside. That ananda, that pleasure, that experiencing that pleasure, it is vishayananda. Vishayananda, ananda which is born of vishayas. So attaining the इष्टवस्तु प्राप्य यः आनन्दः लभ्यते सः विषयानन्दः. Having attained the desired object or desired favorable situation, the I which is always wanting, I want, that is temporarily, it is suspended. But the demanding I doesn't get suspended permanently. That is not possible with Vishayananda. That is one type of Ananda. Is it Akshaya Ananda? No. Tadanandah, Vishayanandah, Akshayam na bhavitum argati. because akshayam na kshayam, na kshayam tasya kshayaha na bhavati. It doesn't go away. There is no entropy. Akshayam is it is always inexhaustible. Atah Vishayanandaha Kshayanandaha. Another type of Ananda called Vairagya. Ananda born of Vairagya. Vairagya Janya Anandaha. Vishayebhyaha Janya Anandaha Vishayanandaha. Tattu Kshayanandaha. Vairagyat. Vairagya Janya Anandaha. Vairagyanandaha. यदा कस्मिंचित् वस्तुनि तीव्र रागः भवति तदा किं भवति अंतःकरणे चित्ते अंतःकरणस्य व्याकुलता संभवति चिंता संभवति किंतु यदा विवेकद्वारा दृढ़ वैराग्यं जन्यते तदा रागः अपगच्छति अतः राग अभावात् वैराग्यात् यः आनन्दः जायते सः वैराग्यानन्दः रागात् मुक्तेः कारणात् आनन्दः लभ्यते सः वैराग्यानन्दः सः आनन्दः वैषयिक सुखात् श्रेष्ठतरः आनन्दः that ananda that born of vairagya when there is intense raga for a thing is there, then the mind will be restless. Mind will be always ruminating on that vastu. So therefore, for that mind, ananda, happiness, peace is not possible. Kutah shantihi, kutah shantihi, ashantasya, kutah shantihi. इति भगवता एव उक्तं पूर्वं द्वितीय अध्याये. Therefore, vairagya, that ananda which is born of which vairagya, that freedom from raga, that ananda, in fact, it is better than the ananda which are experienced in the other loka, Swargadi loka. Shrotriyasya chaka magatasya te shatam iti, that how the units of happiness are compared in the Brahmananda Mimamsa. Even if the person is not a jnani, but akamahataha, that the person free from kama, free from the hold of kama, desires, that itself gives ananda, is not dictated by the Vishayas. So he is at peace, ananda. That ananda, a sadhaka experiences in the beginning, further it progress into the another ananda in course when the sadhaka continues his sadhanam, that is jnana yoga sadhanam. That ananda which is independent, which is Swarupananda, that is Atmananda or Vidyananda, Ananda born due to Vidya knowledge, or Swarupananda, Atmananda, Atmanaha, Nityapurnasya Atmanaha, Aparoksha Jnana, Jayamanaha Anandaha, Atmanandaha, Swarupananda. So Anandaha, Atmanaha Anandaha, Swarupameva, Natu Agantukaha. Ata Swarupanandaha. But this Ananda is not an Ananda which is born of any experience. experience of any sense objects, any vishayas, this Ananda is Swarupananda. So all the time this Ananda is there. So this is the ultimate Ananda, Akshayam, Sukham, Anandam, Ashnute, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. This is the real Ananda. If we can take the two Ananda, Vishayananda and Vairagyananda, compared to a Pratibimba Ananda, Yaha Anandaha Antakarana Vritto Bhasate. One is due to Vishaya, other one is due to Vairagya. That Ananda is also, that is Pratibimba Ananda. But that Ananda also has its Moolam in the Bimba Ananda, that is Atmananda, Swarupananda. So the Vishayananda and Vairagyananda, they are Pratibimbananda, the Ananda which is reflected Ananda. It is Abhas Ananda. But that Ananda has its root dependency on this Bimbananda, that is Atmananda. Pratibimba Anandaha, Pratibhasika Anandaha, Anubhuya Mana Anandaha. Kintu Bimbanandaha Antu Anubhavanandaha, it is not a matter of experience, it is that Ananda, Aham Ananda Swarupaha Asmi, Aham Purnaha Asmi, that Apurnatayaha, that Ya Bhranti Asti, Sa Sarvata Nivartate, Jnanena. Yaha Anandaha Jnanena, Vidyaya Labhyate, Saha Anandaha, Vidyanandaha, Tam Anandam, Atmanandam Prapya, Tat Anandam Prapya, Swaswarupam Anandam Labhya, Jnatva, Muktaha Bhavati. Therefore, among the three types of Ananda, Trishu Anandeshu, Ajnaninaha, Vishayanandam Prati Gachanti. Jnaninaha tu Vairagyanandam Arambe Sadhana Samaye Vairagyanandam Prati Ante Atmanandam Labhante. Therefore, a Jnani, a wise man, enjoys these two Ananda. Of course, he enjoys Vairagyananda. Vairagyananda is experiential Ananda. He is free from all emotional dependences, doesn't depend on anything for his fulfillment. Even at Upadhi level, there is Vairagya. But still, it is experiential Ananda. And that Ananda, finally, that when he discovers Aham Akhandananda Swarupaha Asmi, Yaha Anandaha Vedanta Pramanena Vyagate. Saha Anandaha Saha Eva Paramartataha Mukhyanandaha Swarupanandaha Saha Nityanandaha Nityam Labhyate. That Anandam, Saha Anandam Prapya Jnanena Saha Muktaha Bhavati. So in this shloka, if you see, Pratama Pade, Pratama Vakye, Bhagya Sparsheshva Saktatma, Pratama Pade, Vairagyanandasya Nirupanam Krutva, Sabrahma Yoga Yuktatma iti, Dvitiya Vakye, Sabrahma Yoga Yuktatma iti, Atmanandasya Pratipadanam Karoti Acharyaha, sorry, Kshamtam, Bhagavan. So the Bhagya Sparsheshva Saktatma, that Vairagyananda Vindati Atmani Yat Sukham, then that Ananda culminates in Atmananda, Nityananda, Swarupananda. the jnani, a wise man, enjoys both ananda. Or we can otherwise also look upon the shloka that Vairagyananda, which is obtained by the sadhaka, when the sadhaka becomes siddha, jnani, saha, atmanandaha, which is akshayaha, that akshayam sukam, ashnute, he gains. So Vairagyanandaha, Vairagyajanya Anandaha, that is Sapekshika Anandaha. That Ananda is required. The relative Ananda, the relative happiness is required. That Ananda culminates in Vidyananda, Atmananda. The person has to be satisfied relatively. Then only the person will gain Atmananda. Only a relatively contented mind. That mind alone can pursue knowledge. So, Idyapi Vairagyajanya Anandaha, Sapekshika Anandaha, Tatapi, Vairagyanandam Prapya, Chittashantihi Bhavati, Manasi Santoshaha Vartate, Yaha Manaha Santushtam Bhavati Saha Eva, Tasya Eva, Tasya Eva Atmajnanaya Pravartate. Ataha Sapekshika Vairagyanandat, Nirapeksha Atmanandam Prati Pravartate. If the person is not relatively happy, then you won't be able to accept that his Swarupa is happiness. Then Vedanta will be useless. It will be thinking that it gives happiness, it teaches happiness, but I don't find happiness, I don't realize that happiness. Either we will blame Vedanta or Vedanta will become counterproductive. The time will be wasted. The relative happiness, relative satisfaction, which is possible only through material accomplishments only. The mind has to be relatively secure, relatively peace, relatively contented, happy. Then that mind only is ready for this vichara. This important thing to be understood. That is why Vedanta becomes successful only for those people who are relatively accomplished people. Otherwise, after Vedanta or after sannyasa, if the sense of accomplishment is not there, after sannyasa, the person there is no avenue for any source, any means for accomplishing. And it is also should not be done also. It is dharma, sannyasa dharma. Then it would be dangerous that person, since doesn't have any means, any avenues, and also he cannot aspire for the sense of material accomplishment. Now that too, having taken up the sannyasa, then sannyasa would become dangerous. Vedanta would be problem for that person. So therefore, no compromise with regard to the material accomplishments. Material accomplishments are never denied or never rejected. That we have to look upon whenever Shastram says money is not permanent. That is true. But money has the purchasing power, buying power. That everybody acknowledges. Money cannot do anything. That through money, what you buy, that only money can do. But that thing, ultimately, what you want is what you buy through money is the thing what you want, and that the value for that you have it on money. That's what the Shobhana Adhyasa is. So thinking that money would accomplish everything, people pursue only money, that is a problem. But money itself is not criticized. If that is so, then why we look upon even wealth as Lakshmi, Ashtalakshmi? So therefore, there should be clear understanding with regard to what is said, and also sometimes this nahi nanda nyaya, to emphasize a certain thing, something is criticized. So that, yeah, that is a method, that is a way Shastra adopts. So therefore, we have to understand that properly and pursue. Shastra itself, in fact, approves Artha Kama Purushartha. If not, then why there is a voluminous Karmakanda portion? So Artha and Kama, as long as it's keeping with Dharma, is fine. A person, when it becomes refined, mature, understands these are all limited. Parichinna Purushartha Vishayanandena Nityanandaha na labhyate. Nityananda is the ultimate goal. The Vishayananda is Sapekshikananda. Every time you have to renew it, like subscription. Nityananda, there is no subscription fee. So Vishayananda is every month you have to subscribe it. The subscription fee is required. So that is the difference. But from Vishayananda, one has to progress to Vairagyananda and Nityananda, Vidyananda. Vidyananda born due to knowledge. Vidyananda, the Ananda born due to knowledge. So knowledge only ultimately destroys the Ajnanam, and therefore Ajnana, when Ajnanam is gone, the Raga, Dvesha, etc., the likes and dislikes, which are all Ajnana Janya, all those things goes away. So therefore, when it is not, when Swarupa of oneself is discovered, then the very pursuit of this Moksha Purushartha is completed, that person becomes free in spite of living in any ashrama. So therefore, Akshayam Sukham Ashnute, that is the message here Bhagavan gives. Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, that person need not be a sannyasi. Bhagya Sparsheshu, even in spite of living in the Bhagya Sparsha, that is sense objects, in the midst of sense objects, Saha Asaktatma. Purvam Saktatma, Paschat Jnanena Asaktatma Bhavati. Purvam Ajnanavastayam Saha Saktatma Bhagya Sparsheshu Vishayeshu. Therefore, every time he aspires for Vishaya and he has to subscribe for it every time, work for it, gets Ananda, relative Ananda. That is fine. But if you want that Ananda which is Akshayam, then Bhagya Sparsheshu Asaktatma. Now let us read the Bhashyam. Bhagya Sparsheshu
Bahyasparseshu
Bhagyascha te Sparshascha Bhagyaspashaha
Bahyascha te sparshacha bhagyasparshaha
Sprishyante iti Sparshaha
Sprishyante iti sparshaha
Shabdadayah Vishayaha
Shabdadayah vishayaha
Teshu Bhagyasparsheshu
Teshu bahyasparseshu
Asaktaha Atma Antakaranam
Asaktaha antakaranam
Yasya Saha Ayam Asaktatma
Yasya ayam asaktatma
Vishayeshu Priti Varjitaha San
Vishayeshu pritivarjitaha san
Vindati Labhate
Vindati labhate
Atmani Yat Sukam Tat Vindati Ityetat
Atmani yat sukham tat vindati itetat
Bhagyasparsheshu Acharya himself gives the compound, the Vigraha Vakya of the compound. Bhagyaha te sparshaha iti bhagya sparshaha karmadaraya samasa. Bhagyaha sharirat bagihi bhagya sparsheshu vishayeshu. Sparshaha from the sprish dhatu, sparshane, sprish, karmani utpatti, ghani pratyaya. Therefore, sprishyante iti sparshaha akartiri chakarake sanyayam. Sutrena sprish dhatoh gai pratyayam yojayitva sparsha iti rupam bhavati. Therefore, sprishyante karmani utpatti. Sense objects. Sprishyante iti sparshaha kaihi indriyaihi jnanendriyaihi अनुभवन्ते इति स्पर्शाः ज्ञानेन्द्रियैः अनुभवन्ते अनुभवन्ति ज्ञानेन्द्रियैः अनुभूयन्ते इति स्पर्शाः. So स्पर्शाः, therefore it is विषयाः इत्यर्थः. शब्दादयः शब्द स्पर्श रूप रस गन्धाः विषयाः इन्द्रियैः अनुभूयन्ते इति स्पर्शाः. Therefore, sparshaha is sense objects. Indriya gocharaha, shabdadayaha, they are bhogyaha, enjoyed. Enjoyed or experienced. Experienced. Enjoy means not in the literal sense. Experienced. They are sense objects. Te bhagyaha outside sharirat bhagigi asti. Sharirat bhagigi स्थितेषु शब्द स्पर्श रूप रस गंधादिषु विषयेषु भाग्य स्पर्शेषु तेषु भाग्य स्पर्शेषु असक्तः. असक्तः इत्युक्ते रागरहितः. असक्तः असक्तः इट इज निष्ठा रूपम. षंज धातु संगे यन्ता प्रत्यय सक्तः न सक्तः असक्तः. असक्तः इत्युक्ते विरागी वीतरागः इत्यर्थः. दट इज वैराग्यानन्दः. असक्तः वैरागी. निस्पृगः इत्यर्थः. फ्री फ्रॉम लॉन्गिंग फॉर bhagyasparisu, that ananda which are obtained from Vishayas. Asaktaha Atma. Atma is, what is Atma? Atma, Acharya himself gives Atma is Antakaranam. Antakaranam Manaha Buddhihi. Atma Antakaranam Chittam Yasya Saha. Asaktaha Atma Yasya Saha Bhuguri Samasa. Yasya Purushasya Manaha Vishayeshu Magnam Na Bhavati. Saha Asaktatma. Vairagyavan ityartha. Simple. Vairagyavan. That is why Ananda bond due to Vairagya. Vairagyavan. Vishayeshu Priti Varjitaha. Vishayeshu Bhogya Padarteshu Vishayeshu Pritihi Ragaha Nasti Tesham Tasya Priti Varjitaha. Pritya Varjitaha Priti Varjitaha. Tritiya Tat Purusha. Pritya Varjitaha Priti Varjitaha San Saha Labate Vindati. The Shloka Vindati is there. Acharya says Labate Prapnoti Avapnoti Kutra Atmani Pratyekhatmani Swarupe Atmani Tam Tata Vindati. That is Anandam. That's Swatmanandam Anubhavati Ityartaha. Anubhavati Vindati. So Bhagya Sparsheshu. Therefore, Acharya here points out this Vairagyasya Mahatma. How important is this detachment is. So Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasagandha, these Vishayas are there and sense organs are there, 5 Jnanendriyas. So therefore, Here Indriya Gragyaha and Indriyas are Paranchikani. Vetanat Swayambhu Parang Pashyan. Always it will be seeing outside. In spite of that, Yada Yada Antakaranam Bhagya Vishayeshu Asaktam Bhavati. Bhagya Vishayeshu Asaktam Bhavati. Asaktam Bhavati Chet Samsare Brahmati. Asaktam. Yada Asaktaha Bhavati Antak Asaktam Bhavati Antakaranam. प्रीतिवर्जितः भवति रागरहितः इत्युक्ते अंतर्मुखं भवति यदा तदा आत्मनि यत् सुखं वर्तते तत् लभते. That is the meaning. So it is extrovert. If it is extrovert, then there is no sukham, only samsara. If it is introvert, then there is sukham. Atmani yat sukham labhate. That atmani yat sukham, that sukham which is obtained in the atma, not outside. So therefore, atmani yat sukham labhate. तत् विन्दति लभते प्राप्नोति अवाप्नोति कः असक्तात्मा भाग्यस्पर्शेषु असक्तात्मा विन्दति. Then the next second line which Acharya explains Sabrahma Yoga Yuktatma. Sabrahma Yoga Yuktatma
Sabrahma yoga yuktatma
Brahmani Yogaha
Brahmani
Brahmani
yoga
yoga
Samadhihi Brahma Yogaha
samadhi
Brahma yoga
Tena Brahma Yogena
Tena Brahma yogena
Yuktaha Samahitaha
yukta
samahitaha
Tasmin Vyapratah Atma Antakaranam
Tasmin
vyapritah
atma
antakaranam
karanam
Yasya Saha Brahma Yoga Yuktatma
yasya saha
Brahma
brahma
yoga yuktatma
Sukham Akshayam Ashnute Vyapnoti
sukham
Sukham
akshayam
akshayam
ashnute
ashnute
vyapnoti
Saha Akshayam Sukham Ashnute Vyapnoti Apnoti Vi Apurvaka Avapnoti Apnoti Labate Ashnute Kaha Saha Saha Kaha Saha Jnani Katam Yatum Shakite Saha Jnani Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Iti Yuktaha Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Brahmani Parabrahmani Yuktatma Samahita Chittaha. How do you know Samahitaha? Acharya himself has been Samahitaha. Samyak Agitaha Antakaranam Yasmin. Samahitaha. Yuktaha. Brahmani Yogaha Brahma Yogaha. Brahmani Yogaha Brahma Yogaha. Acharya himself gives the Vigraha Vakya Saptami Tat Purusha. Samadhihi Brahma Yogaha is Samadhihi. Yogaha Samadhihi. Yogaha Chittavritti Nirodhaha. Patanjali Yoga Sutra says Chittavritti Nirodhaha means Ekagrata, Chitta Samadhanam, or in the language of Yoga Sutra, Sanyamaha, Samadhihi, Brahma Yogaha, Brahmani Ekagrata eva Brahma Yogaha. Tena Brahma Yogena, Tena Brahma Yogena, Brahmani Nirodha Lakshana Samadhehe Brahma Yogena, Yuktaha Samahitaha Samagitaha Samyak Agitaha Chittam. Therefore, Yasya Chittam Samyak Agitam Bhavati. Sthira Chittaha Samagitaha, the one whose mind is focused. Samahitaha Nishta Rupam Tapratyaya Sampurvaka A Upasarga Sam Apurvaka Dhatu is Dha Dhatu Dudhanj Dharana Poshna Yoho. There is one sutra, dadate he he. One sutra is dadate he. He will be replaced. He will be the replacement. Will replace the dha dhatu. When takaradi chit pratyaya pare. Therefore, samag. That's why with samagita the word is gained. Dhatu is dha dhatu. So samagitaha. Tasmin vyaprataha. 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 That is also nishta only. Vyapuraka kr. The pr dhatu. Vyap. Vya puraka. That's vyaprataha. Not vyaprataha. V, then ab dhatu. Ab, not ab dhatu, kshamata. V, ab, pr dhatu, pr. Anyway, I'll check the vyaprataha. Vyapnoti. Vyaprataha means it is tasmin vyaprataha engaged. Okay. I thought it to be vyakrataha, not vyakrataha. Vyaprataha. Engaged. Atma antakaranam acharya himself gives Atma antakaranam yasya saha. Yasya kasya yasya यस्य ज्ञानिनः मनः ब्रह्मणि एव तिष्ठति सः ब्रह्मणि एव निमग्नं भवति तिष्ठति सः ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा परब्रह्मणि एव आत्मा अंतःकरणं युक्तः भवति निमग्नः भवति यस्य चित्तं परब्रह्मणि एव निमग्नं भवति Bhajo in them also that shloka is Chittam abides in the Brahma. So Pare Brahmani Kopina Saktaha. So here Parabrahmani Lina Chittaha, Lina Chetaha Purushaha, that person whose Chittam is Leenam in the Parabrahma. Brahma, therefore Brahma Yogena Yuktaha, Brahma Yoga Yuktaha, Atma Yasya Saha, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. Bhagavad Samasa, Saha, referring to that person. So, Kaha, when we ask Saha, Saha Kaha, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. The one whose Antakaranam is absorbed in Parabrahma. Saha. Saha, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, Ashnute, Prapnoti, what? Sukam, Kidrisham Sukam, Kshayam Sukam. It is not Vishaya Sukam, it is, that's why we use the word Ananda. Paramanandam, Ananda, which doesn't have any equal. That Ananda, which is Swarupananda. And therefore Akshayam, Vinasharagitam. Every other Ananda is subject to Vinasha. Yaha Anandaha Vinasha Ragitaha Anandaha Yaha Ananda Vidyate Tattu Atmanandaha Eva Vidyaya Eva Labhyamanaha Anandaha. Ataha Akshayam Vinasharagitam Nityam Mityartaha. How do you know Nityam Kshayam? Kshiyate iti kshayaha, na kshayaha, na kshiyate iti akshayam. Kshayaha atva na kshayaha asya na iti. That which doesn't have kshaya, that doesn't get exhausted. Akshayam. So we can take it as simple. Kshiyate iti kshayaha, na kshiyate iti akshayaha, tam akshayam sukham. Kshidatu kshaye. And kshidatu yerach. Yesterday class we were seeing in something yerach, ach pratyaya. So you can take na kshiyate iti kshayaha kshiyate na kshiyate. Therefore ach pratyaya akarta jakarake sanyayam apavada to ghai akshayam shukam ashnute. That sukam which is not subject to not subject to exhaustion, not subject to disappearance. Therefore, it is Shashvatam Sukham, Nitya Sukham. It is not destructible by anything. Therefore, it is Swarupananda. That this indestructible Atma is also indestructible. And the Sukham also doesn't subject to destruction. Therefore, Atma must be of the nature of happiness. That is why Avinashi to tat vidhi yena vidam tatam Avinashi to tad vidhi. May you know that to be Avinashi, that is not subject to Vinasha. Vinasha Ragitaha Atma Avinashi. That is why Avinashi. It's called Avinashi to tad vidhi yena sarvavidam tatam. So that Sukham Ashnote Prapnoti Vyapnoti Vyapnoti Sakshat Karoti. This Ashnute, Ash means it is in Ashnoti or Ashnati, Ashnati, ninth conjugation. Ninth conjugation also is there, fifth conjugation also is there. Here it is fifth conjugation, Ashnute, and Ubeyapadi, Ashnute. Ash is got in two different conjugation, two different meanings. Here Ashnute in the sense of Natu Ashnute. It is in the sense of experiencing. Ash means to eat. Ash in the sense of eating, Ashnute. So therefore Ashnute is the sense of experiencing. Experiencing means not like a Vishaya. Already experience is recognized. That Ananda, that Atma, which is already experienced, ever experienced, in the presence of which alone all the experiences are recognized, that Ashnute. That's what Bhashakara gives, Vyapnoti. Vyapnoti labante ityartaha. Sakshat karoti. Shnute is sakshat karoti. Therefore, Sukham Akshayam Sukham Vyapnoti Apnoti Ashnute. So Ashnute not in the physical sense of experiencing. That is why Acharya gives Apnoti Vyapnoti Sakshat Karoti ityartaha. Then Tasmat
तस्मात्
Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe
बाह्यविषयप्रीतेः
Kshanikayaha Indriyani Nivartayet
क्षणिकायाः इन्द्रियाणि निवर्तयेत्
निवर्तयेत्
Atmani Akshaya Sukharti Ityartaha.
आत्मनि
आत्मनि
अक्षय सुखार्थी
अक्षयसुखार्थी
इत्यर्थः.
इत्यर्थः.
So, in the Akshayam Sukham, this Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Akshayam Sukham Apnoti. Yet Sukham Kshayam Bhavati, Kshanikam Bhavati, Tat Vishayajanya Sukham. Vishayajanya Sukham Kshanikam Bhavati. Vishayaha Anityaha Eva. Vishayaha Anityaha Ataha Indriya Sanyoga Janya Sukham Kshanikam Sukham Kshayam Vartate. Kintu Brahma Yogena Yata Sukham Labhyate Tat Akshayam Vinasharagitam Nityatvat. It is always Nitya. Similarly, in this line also, the Kshanika Yaha, the word is the Kshanika Yaha Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe Kshanika Yaha Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe and Kshanika Yaha, they are of the same vibhakti. Tasmat Bhagya Vishaya Priteke Kshanikayaha. Kshanikayaha is they are Kshanikam, they are subject to Kshanika, momentary, temporary. It is Etu Garbha Visheshana. It is Etu Garbha Visheshana Kshanikayaha. So Kshanikayaha is momentary because the Ananda which is derived from the sense objects are Kshanika, they are temporary. Because they are temporary, therefore Indriyani Nivartayet. Indriya should be withdrawn from them. Indriya should be withdrawn from them. So it is the pleasure which is born of contact with the external objects. Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe Yat Sukham Jayate. Tat Kshanikayaha. Tat Kshanikam Bhavati. Kshanikayaha. They are momentary. That is the reason for withdrawing the Indriyas from the external objects. Indriyani Nivartayet. Indriyani Nivartayet Bhagya Vishayebhyaha. Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe. Why? Because Kshanikayaha. Because they are temporary. Therefore it is Kshanikayaha is the Hetu Garbha Visheshanam. Kshanikayaha Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe. Kshanikayaha Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe. Kshanikayaha Indriyani Nivartayet. Nivatayet ityukte Pratyaharaha. The Yoga Sutra it is Pratyaharaha. Before Samadhi, before in fact Dhyanam, Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyaharaha. So Pratyahara withdrawing, Nivartayet, Paravartet, Pratyaharet ityartah Nivartayet. Tani Indriyani, Shotradini Jnanendriyani, Bhagya Vishaya Pritehe. Bhagya Vishaya Bhagyaha te Vishayaha. Bhagya Vishayaha. Bhagya Vishayeshu Ya Pritihi Vartate. Bhagya Vishayeshu Pritihi. Bhagya Vishaya Pritihi Tasmat. So Bhagya Vishayeshu Pritihi Saptami Tad Purusha. Tasmat Indriyani. From that Indriyani Nivartayet. Pratyaharet Vidra Vimukam Kuryat. Turn away. Because they are Kshanikayaha, Anityayaha. Because they are subject to destruction. They are momentary, anitya. They are kshana bangura. They are subject to coming and going. Therefore, nivartayet. Therefore, atmani akshaya sukarti. Akshaya akshayasya sukam akshaya sukam. Akshaya sukam artitum shilam yeshamte. The one who aspires for this akshaya sukam, where in atmani swarupe. Atmani swarupe nitya sukam praptum यह इच्छति मुमुक्षुः अक्षय सुकार्ति सुखम अर्तितुम शीलम येषां ते सः अक्षय सुकार्ति आत्मनि 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 विन्दते अक्षय सुकार्ति आत्मनि यत् सुखम वर्तते तत्प्राप्त्यर्थम इंद्रियाणि भाग्य विषयेभ्यः भाग्य विषय प्रीतेः निवर्तयेत्. Why? Because Kshanikayaha, because it is of the nature of Kshanikam, subject to destruction. Iti Acharyasya Upadeshaha. Akshaya Sukarti, Yaha Atma Sukam, Atma Sukha Abhilashi, Atma Sukha Abhilashi. Atmani, Yaha Atmani Akshaya Sukarti Bhavati Saha. Saha Kim Karaniyam, Tena Kim Karaniyam, Tena Avashyam Indriyani Kshanikayaha, Kshanika Sukha सुखदायकेभ्यः विषयेभ्यः भाग्यविषयेभ्यः सर्वथा निवर्तयेत् he has withdrawn or he has to move away from them दूरीकर्तव्यानि तानि सर्वाणि विषय इन्द्रियाणि दूरीकर्तव्यानि विषयास whether you can keep it distance or not we don't that is depends but you can withdraw anyway the distance the space is created between them therefore there is no bhagya sparsha iti upadesha is given for a sadhaka so that he becomes siddha brahma yoga yuktatma atmani sukham vindati so bhagya visheshu because yavat bhagya visheshu pritihi na nashyati तावत् अक्षय सुख प्राप्तिः न भवति अतः भाग्य विषय प्रीतेः इंद्रियाणि निवर्तयेत् it is an upadesha given not for the jnani jnani is always free in spite of living in the midst of vishayas he is free therefore this upadesha is given to a sadhaka either you move away from them or you withdraw the indriyas create distance from these sense objects in the Ashtavakra Gita in the very beginning itself Vishayan Vishavat Tyaja, that is Upadesha given by Ashtavakra to Janaka. When Janaka asks what is the means for moksha, then first as a sadhana it says Vishayan Vishavat Tyaja. So that is the attitude. It's not that they are Visha, but for a sadhaka it is Visha. Who aspires for this Nityananda, it is Visha. Vishayas are Visha. Vishaya is Visinoti Badnati iti Vishayaha. That which binds a person is called Vishaya. We are all Vishaya bound. Visinoti Badnati, that which binds us into the samsaras are Vishayaha. That which therefore the Vishayas are Visha, poison. They are not poison because our raga, it is said like that. It is neither poison nor like that. Okay. Even we understand how to start with the Pringis Nivartanam. Vishayeshu dosha darshanam. It is to be practiced carefully. Dosha darshanam sometimes becomes fault finding with everything. It's not fault finding. Vishayas being what it is, people being what it is, situations being what it is. That they are all subject to limitation and there is no sukham really available. There is no real ananda, there is no sukham even materially also. All our happiness is superimposed. That one has to do some vichara and understand this. So it has to be introspective. Then when you understand these vishayas being what it is my raga for my love for it. It what makes me bound to those. And the same Vishaya and also we have experienced in some other cases that which we love later become an object of hatred. Is it the problem of the Vishayas or the problem with us? It is a problem with us. We value something more than what it deserves and give sometimes extra care, extra attention. So there we have to bring some awareness even with regard to people also. So when it is something is duty bound, let us do it as a karma yoga duty. So karma yoga is important. The attitude is important. Not just by doing and saying this is Ishwararpanam. That is not karma yoga. We are connected to so many people through so many janmas. And we cannot settle accounts with all individually. That's why Swamiji always says settle accounts with Ishvara. So doing with the action in the spirit with the attitude of karma yoga. So when you have karma yoga buddhi, then there will not be there should not, there raga and dvesha is set aside. There should not, there should not be. Raga is set aside, then only karma yoga is possible. We do something and we have certain expectations. That is nothing wrong, but we should not be, that that expectation what is there. Sometimes, the expectation becomes a demand. When our demand is not fulfilled, then we become agitated and therefore dvesha is created. The same thing or person with whom we have intense raga, then slowly after when our demand is not fulfilled, it becomes dvesha. Then what happened to that love? Now that love has become I allow you, as Swamiji says. So it is not with the person or with the Vishaya. The problem is with us, our attitude towards it. Therefore, physically you cannot do Nivartanam. Mentally you have to do Nivartanam. I'm just playing my role playing. So this has to be practiced consciously practiced for a length of time. Then only it will come. So easy steps. There is no easy step or difficult step. It is a everyday step. Every day we have to follow it.
No, Ji, just I was thinking about having a control in our food, what we are eating, or we know everything that like this is not good for our health, but still we go after it. So just a simple thing towards the food, we don't have a
Strong
control.
sankalpa,
Like,
strong determination is what is required. We should have
ah,
strong determination. So our determinations are very loose. Even our New
that's
Year
right. To
resolve is
develop
very
that
loose.
mm,
Of course, a strong determination, it's very
can
important.
we develop. How can we
Tivra,
develop that?
how can we, sometimes we have to say no very stubbornly to our, tongue also. No, I will not take this. Why it is not possible? You see the positive side of, following that, not taking the state, denying. Should, in fact, we should learn to sometimes, to deny, to say no to things. It helps us. Okay, the food that what you love, when doctor advises you it is not good for health, it will be dangerous for your body, then will you eat it? That
Yeah,
time from where the strong determination comes. So
yeah,
Icha is the karanam, the raga, that love, no, that
yeah,
is
during
the
fast and all, we can strongly we won't eat anything. That time, see,
fast.
we can do that. But still, after that, whenever losing the determination quickly, that it's not that we can't do it, but we are losing the determination quickly. So
It's
how
only
to?
by being aware and practice only. So
Uh,
we may fail many times, but doesn't matter. But it has to be practiced. See, fasting also. Fasting,
mm,
in fact, fasting is to, it's not for just, keeping our stomach, empty. It also to control our,
yeah,
not
yes.
our appetite, our taste for food. The raga is
Mm,
there.
mm,
See, I also fast, but I take juice, fruits, etc. But the taste
mm,
for annam is there. The sambar rice and the rasam that is doesn't go away. Rasavajam rasopyasya param drishtva navartate. That that has to go. That is why certain disciplines, fasting, etc. All these things are given. So that
mm,
as fasting is meant for overcoming the desire for food. Similarly, depending on from what you want to do this nivartanam withdrawing, those methods have to be adopted. If it is food, then fasting is a way. Fasting is deliberately saying no to things, like
yeah,
no
yeah.
to drugs. So
That's
it
what.
depends on the Vishaya, depends on what you feel like you are intensely attached. Even if suppose
Mm,
if it is your siblings or kids or whatever, then you have to say no and sometimes stay away from them, see whether you can manage.
mm.
So that away. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This Vita Priya Bodhini, just it will take 5 minutes. I'll just quickly read and finish this. न प्रगृह्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य इति उक्त्वा विषयसुखं परित्यक्तव्यम् इति सूचितं। विषयसुखे परित्यक्ते ब्रह्मविदः सुखाभावात् उन्मत्तस्य इव अमुष्य स्थितिः निष्फला एव इति आशंकायां न प्रगृह्येत्। Previous shloka. It's all very easily said. It's all difficult to practice, but it is to be practiced. There is no other way. To be that's why the tivratam, the commitment is required. Anything, the tivra, the commitment matters. Otherwise, all this will be some piece of information lying some corner of the mind. That's it. For Upadesha purpose only. But do we follow it? Vedanta itself is to follow. Do we follow it is the question. Okay, sometimes we have to ruthlessly say no to things, even at the expense of some relational issue problems also. It may come, it's okay. Okay, but it is for our good. Atmanastu, Kamaya. That also required. Na pragrishyet priyam prapya iti ukta, having said in the previous shloka. Now, Vishaya Sukham Parittavyavam. Therefore, Vishaya Sukha should be given. Vishaya Sukha should be given. How to give up? It is in the mind only. It is not the problem with Vishaya. To be given means either you stay away or you see the staying away is not a permanent solution, of course. Vishayeshu dosha darshanam. How that Vishaya binds me. I don't want to get bound. I aspire for freedom, moksha, therefore Vishaya should be given up. Iti Sujitam said, okay, let us complete this. Vishayasuke parityakte. When Vishayasuka is given up, Brahmavidaha, then Brahmavida will be without any sukha, like sukha bhavat, unmattaha, like a mad person, amushya sthiti, that sthiti. What is the use of that sthiti? It is useless. Iti akansham, if this doubt is there, no, for that we say no. It gives up Vishaya Sukha, but he obtains Atma Sukha. So Vishaya Sukha is given for getting higher happiness. Vishaya Sukhas are lower happiness. The person desires something more than that. Therefore, Vishaya Sukhas are nothing. Therefore, it is not Nishpala. Rasamahevayam labdva nandi bhavati Taittiriya Upanishad. Iti Shravanat. That sukha which is nitya, nirantara, and unsurpassable, niratishayam, that sukham is Brahma sukham, amushya. For this person, Brahmanishtayam, tishtataha astitiyaha. Brahmanishtayam, tishtati, for this person who is in this Brahmanishta, for that person, it is the sukham, akshaya sukham, that sukham is there. Iti aha in this shloka, vagyasparsheshu asaktatma iti. भाग्यस्पर्शेष्विति यः आत्मतत्त्वज्ञः स्वयं भाग्यस्पर्शेषु मूढैः आत्मनः बहिः एव कल्पिता भाग्या. This line is very complicated line to explain. यः आत्मतत्त्वज्ञः यः आत्मतत्त्वं जानाति, that person, for him, that bhagya, that is sukham which is obtained to the bhagya, the sukham which is obtained, it is not in the bhagya vishya, it is swayam. That is one part we have to understand. That is line to be understood. Atmatattvaඥah, yaha atmatattvaඥah saha tasya sukham swasmin eva bhavati. But kintu mudaihi atmanaha bhagihi eva kalpita bhagya, that is bhagya sparsheshu. For the deluded people, atmanaha bhavi, it is Atmanaha Bhagihi, it is outside of oneself, iti kalpita bhagya. In fact, Vishayas also, bhagya Vishayas are also contained within the Atma. So Atma is Sarvavyapi, it is myself, this Jagat Karanam, Brahma Aham Asmi. Therefore, bhagya Vishayas, this Vishayas are also is himself. Therefore, the Vishayas are not outside of himself, whereas for the Muda, the Vishayas are outside of himself. There is nothing outside. Atmanaha bhagi kimapi nasti. Atmatattvaඥah janati. Whereas for the Muda, these Vishayas are outside of Atma. Therefore, tesham bhagya vishayeshu asaktihi. Whereas For Atma Tattvajnaha, since everything is Atma, where is Bhagya to Atma? Where is Antaha to Atma? There is nothing. So therefore, Tesham Asaktihi Nasti. That we have to supply, understand. That is the Shloka says. Indriyagi Sprishyante Grigyante iti Sparshaha. That which is Sprishyante, touched, Grigyante, obtained. Therefore, Indri Vishayaha. Sparshaha means Indri Vishayaha. They are Bhagyaha. Te Sparshaha, they are experienced. Grigyante, Anubhuyante, Teshu, with regard to them, Bhagya Sparsheshu, Shabdadishu, Shabdasparsha, Ruparasa Gandha, Itya. Ityadishu, Tajanya Sukeshu, the Sukam born of them, Tat Tuchatta Buddhya, Bandakatta Buddhya. They are Tucha, they are Tucham, and they are Bandaka, they bind me. Cha iti Asaktaha. They are nothing. They are Tucha, this Buddhi. The Nivartanam is only by this attitude, Tuchatta Buddhi, and they bind me. Doesn't they curtail my freedom? Iti Asaktaha. Apravrittaha Atma Antakaranam Manaha Yasya Saha. That person is Asaktatma. Being Asaktatma, being not attached to the Bhagya Vishaya, son being Tibra Vairagyana, by intense Vairagya, Manasa, Vishaya Grahanam Akurvan, not holding the, not grasping the Vishaya Grahanam, not holding onto the Vishayas. Guhayamba, go to some guha, some cave, or anyatra ragasi, or in some place, ragasi, samahitaha, somewhere send, some anyatra gatva, ragasi, secret place. This Bhagavan advises many, 13th chapter also. So samagitaha, there, the chitta, the mind is focused. Samagitaha, samadhanam, samagitaha bhutva. Samahitaha bhutva, the mind is relatively calm, peace, bhutva, atmani, that is buddhyari sakshini, that pratichi is atman, pratyekatma. Sakshat krite, when atma sakshatkaram, that is nididhyasanam is done, yat sukam, atma sakshatkara sambhutam, that sukam which is of the nature of the nature of this atma sakshatkara, that sukam, which is obtained, which is of the Atma, which is obtained in the Atma, Atmar Atmani Yatsukam Vindati, Saha Anubhavati, Vindati Anubhavati. Saha Eva Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, Brahma with Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, Nama Rupa Grahanam Akrutva, not Grahanam, not holding on to this Nama Rupa, Chidakara Vritya, Akandakara Vritya, Chitta Akara Vritti, the Vritti Antakarana, the Vritti, the thoughts of the that Pratyaya. The pratyaya is Chit, Chaitanyam, and Chidakara Vritti, that is Akandakara Vritti. Therefore, for that person, what is Bhagihi, what is Antaha? Bhagihi Antaha Sarvatra Brahma Matra Darshanam. He says Brahma everywhere. Bhagihi Va Antaha Va. Saha Brahma Yogaha Tasmin. That is called Brahma Yogaha. At Sarvatra Atma Darshanam, Brahma Darshanam is Brahma Yogaha. So Tasmin Sarvatra Sada Brahma Darshane Yeva Yuktaha. He is always Yuktaha, engaged in this Brahma Darshanam. Niyamitaha Atma Manaha Yasya Saha. The Atma always is into this. Therefore, that person is called Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma. Atma is Antakaranam. Antakaranam, it is Nishchayena. Niyamitaha, it is always confined to only Brahma. That person is Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma. San Yuttana, Avyuttana Yoga, whether he is sleeping or awake. Sada, always, every time, all the time, Sarvatra, everywhere, Brahma Eva Anandaikarasam. That Brahma Eva is Ananda and it is Ekarasam, it is one, there is no second. And Paripurnam Pasyan, that Ananda is Purnam, is complete Pasyan. Having seen that, Tataha Adhikataram, excelling that, there is no other Sukha. Akshayam Sada Sarvatra Anandaikara Brahmana Eva Buddhivrittehe Vishayatvat Vichitiragitam Sukam Swarupanandam Ashtute Spashtameva. That Sukam which is Akshayam, then Sada, always, everywhere, Ananda Ekarasasya, that is Brahma. These are all words describing Brahmas. Ananda, which is Ekarasa, which is Brahma Eva, that it has got only of the Ananda. Ananda is the nature. Ananda Ekarasa. Rasa itself is Ananda. So Ananda is the only essence. It is Ananda Rupa. Rasaha Swarupaha Rupam. Ananda is a Swarupam of that Brahma. Eva Buddhi Vrittehe. When that Buddhi Vritti is there, that is the Vritti, Buddhi Vritti, that Jnanam. Then that Buddhi Vrittehe Vishayatva. That is the Vishaya of that Buddhi Vritti, that Pratyaya, that Akandakara Vritti. Therefore, that is Vichittiragitam. There is no gap in the thoughts, in that Vritti. That is, mind is always abides in Brahma. That in between that Vishaya Sukha will not crop up. There will not be any anchoring for Vishaya Sukha. Therefore, Vichittiragitam, there is no break in that. Unbroken, this Buddhi Vritti. Like Taila Dharavat, like the oil when it is poured from one vessel to other vessel, there is no Vichitti, there is no gap. So continuous, that is the example. Vichittiragitam Sukham Swarupamanadam Ashnute Sarvatra Brahma Darshana Tat Darshana Paraha, who is committed to this Brahma Darshanam, seeing Brahma everywhere, Brahma alone, Brahma Matra, Saha Brahmavit, he is Brahmavit, Saha Yatihi Sannyasi, Sadananda Bhavati, is always be happy. There is Ananda, Atmananda, Surupananda. Atra ayam abhiprayaha, that is the meaning. Guhado ragasi samadhim kurvantaha. So in Guha, etc., the person who practices this Brahmanishta, Samadhi Kala eva, Atmanandam, he obtains Ananda in Samadhi Kala. Natu Sarvada Sarvatra, not always everywhere. Therefore, Brahma Yoga Yuktatmanaha, Bhagiyantaha, Sada Sarvatra Brahmananda Anubhavaha, Nirargalaha iti. Those who practice this in the Guha, etc. In the Guha, the person who practices Samadhi Abhyasa, he gets Ananda only in the Guha, but not everywhere. Therefore, in the Shloka it is said, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, meaning that Antaha Bhagigi, everywhere is Brahma, not only inside the caves. You can Vihado Ragasi Samadhim Kurvata Samadhi Kale, in the time of Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi Ananda Manubhavati. But once he comes out from Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that Ananda is not there because Jnanam is not there. It doesn't have Brahma Darshanam. Therefore, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, when we say, is Samadhi, is Sahaja Samadhi, always. Yuttanam or Avyuttanam, wake or sleeping. Sada Sarvatra, this Brahmananda, Anubhavaha, Nirargalaha means without any obstruction, doesn't depend on any state, Jagra, Sushupti or Sapna, doesn't depend on any other condition. Always he obtains. Iti Ityartaha. We'll stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Dhanyavadaha.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.